ARCA is back on the dirt of DuQuoin. Yes, it's the Rust-Oleum Auto Finishes 100 at the DuQuoin State Fairgrounds in Illinois. The 16th race of the ARCA Menards Series and the 9th round of the Sioux Chief Showdown. And it's going to be an exciting one here today in hurry-up mode because there is some weather just to the east of here. Let's take a look at the Lucas Oil race information. The race distance scheduled to be at 100 laps, but we all know all we need is that halfway point to make this one official today. Race breaks at lap 35 and lap 78, tires in the pits. Landon Lewis won last year's race, and as I mentioned, a combination race between the ARCA Menards Series and the Sioux Chief Showdown. ARCA has been coming here for more than 40 years, and there's so much on the line here today. We have a two-time truck winner in the starting lineup, one driver going for 50 grand, and of course a hotly contested championship fight in the ARCA Menards Series. Let's take a look at the point standings coming into this one here. Nick Sanchez has been on top for a long period of time. This is the showdown points, and that's Sammy Smith leading the way over Taylor Gray. Both of those guys still in the thick of things, but then there's Jesse Love lurking back there in the third place. He is the most recent winner on the dirt in the ARCA Menards Series, and Daniel Dye still looking for his first win in 2022. Plenty still to come here today, and we mentioned that overall ARCA Menards Series championship fight. Nick Sanchez is actually in the lead of that, but two other drivers coming after him in Daniel Dye and Rajah Caruth. You see the cars now on the front stretch. All the cars have been staged outside of the racetrack, and just till a couple of minutes ago, we have modifieds on the racetrack. The USAC Silver Crown Series was here, and everything has been sort of sour this weekend because of Mother Nature. Things rained out until today, so a triple header of sorts to try to get all the racing in. Bob Sargent and his staff. Bob is the promoter of this race, this one as well as the Mile of Springfield, and he's done a great job to get ready for racing action here today. Here's a look at those aforementioned championship points. Nick Sanchez by 11 points over Daniel Dye and 16 over Rajah Caruth. Greg Van Alst, first-timer, full-time on the ARCA Menards Series this year, back 107 points back. And Tony Breininger, the top female on the ARCA Menards Series this year. Amber Balkin back in 6th overall in the point standings. But there you see the track packing still going on right now. The cars lined up on the front stretch. A good field of cars here lined up for battle here today. And when you come to the dirt, ARCA is always interesting. Don't expect the dirt late models slinging it sideways and stomping on the loud pedal. This one is a little bit more of a finesse situation for the stock car series of ARCA. Let's fire things up with a command to fire engines.
We see the red 69 at the back of the field too, Will Kimmel. All right, here you go, folks. It's your opportunity. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines.
That is sweet music to all of our ears. The engines fired for the ARCA Menards Series. I am Bob Dillner in for Krista Kelly, and Jim Trado has been with MAV TV in the ARCA Menards Series for so long. I want to talk about this championship fight because they say dirt is the great equalizer. How does that fit into everything here today?
Those three young drivers that are leading the point standings had never raced on dirt before 2 weeks ago at the Springfield Mile. They finished 5th, 6th, and 7th. A lot of confidence after that one. They got decent finishes out of that one. Applying that here today, they need to find some separation, Bob. This is the second straight race. They finished within one position of each other, so the point gap is a position, a point. I mean, it's down to this. You got to get the moves on. Daniel Dye finished higher than the other two on the dirt. I think he's got a little bit of an edge here today. We'll see what the advantage for Rajah Caruth can be to get back in that chase 17 points out.
But nobody knows what's going to happen here today, and that's because these ARCA Menards Series machines have not been on the racetrack. No practice, no qualifying. First laps on the racetrack, the first lap of this race here today. This one is going to be a blast. I'm excited to be back live on MAV TV with the ARCA Menards Series. There they are, lined up. We will fire them when we come back to MAV TV.
This MAV TV Motorsports Network broadcast is brought to you by General Tire. For whatever you do, General Tire delivers. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper. And by Menards. Save big money at Menards.
We are just east of the big city of St. Louis, Missouri. Today in DuQuoin, Illinois for the Rust-Oleum Automotive Finishes 100. The ARCA Menards Series on the dirt. 2 times a year is what we get to see. Let's take a look at the starting grid for this one. On the front row, the most recent winner on the dirt in ARCA, Jesse Love. He got it done at Springfield. And Sammy Smith, the Sioux Chief Showdown points leader, on the outside of the front row. But Jim, as we look at this starting grid, who else do you have an eye on?
I see Corey Heim back there in the 5th position. He's really good on the dirt. He's coming back into the series. It's his 6th race this season. He's been really good in the trucks. I also see a battle for the points there. Greg Van Alsten, row 4. Tony Brodiger, there's 10 points apart in the overall championship.
And just a reminder, everybody lined up by owner's points today because no cars for the ARCA Menards Series have been on the racetrack. No practice, no qualifying, nothing. Amber Balkin 6th in points. Back there, she'll round out the top 10.
Joe Cooksey back in the field. Taylor Gray doesn't race all the races, and there's now been a fill-in driver for them. He's back there in 17th. Let's see how he comes forward.
Mike Massaro, the 3rd member of our broadcast team, now joins us here on the mile of DuQuoin. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing great, Bob. And you know who's doing even better? That would be Jesse Love. He's in the spotlight today because he dominated in Springfield just a week ago. And by virtue of that, he's eligible for the Dirt Double, a $50,000 bonus if he's able to come away with the victory today, sweeping the dirt races. But to do so, he'll have to beat some stout competition. Among them, his teammate, Corey Heim. He's expected to push Jesse Love throughout the course of the day. Earlier today, I had a chance to speak with Corey Heim, asking him how he'll race his teammate if they're dicing it up for the victory. And without a hesitation, Corey Heim said,
Now we apologize, lost Mike Massaro's microphone there, but I'm sure he was going to say something really good about Corey Heim, who has been good on the dirt.
He's in that number 15 here today. Highest average finisher, if it's not Jesse Love going to victory lane, picks up $5 grand from performance seat. Lots on the line for these drivers today.
Daniel Dye, a kid that doesn't have much dirt experience. He had the race at Springfield a couple of weeks ago, but certainly learned a lot there on the mile of Springfield.
He did, and his team has a lot more notes. Rev Racing literally went through their very first process of preparing for a dirt race on the ARCA Menards Series 2 weeks ago. So he's got a lot to prove here. Daniel Dye looking to get that championship tightened up 11 back now.
Jesse Love on the inside, Sammy Smith on the outside, coming to the green this time by the ARCA Menards Series. A slow green flag in the air for the ARCA Menards Series at DuQuoin. Oh, these cars going way up the racetrack. And Jim, I think the key thing here for everybody to understand is Bob Sargent and this staff, they took the blade to this place after a modified and Silver Crown race here today.
About 10 minutes ago, they stopped the grader. I mean, it's a fresh surface for these teams. And look at Sammy on the bottom here in the number 18. Sammy Smith going after it. Jesse Love, by order of position in points at Springfield, earned the pole. He led every lap there. Clean air is everything, and Jesse has it.
The performance seat onboard camera there from Jesse Love going for the dirt double. If he's able to win this, 50 grand in his pocket. One slip up right there by Sammy Smith, and now there's a huge gap between first and second.
Sammy went deep into turn 1. This is only his 2nd ever dirt race. I asked him if he ever raced dirt before. He said, ran about 5 dirt go-kart races when I was 10. And we didn't do it after that. We went pavement racing. So it's a lot to learn here. We went deep into turn 1. That's a learning lesson for Sammy Smith. So good with Mark McFarland leading the Sioux Chief Challenge, Sioux Chief Showdown points, and doing a really good job here. He has yet to finish really out of contention in any race he's been in.
And usually when you see a car get really kind of just sideways on this racetrack with this style of race car, it's not a good thing. It's not what we normally see in the open wheel Warriors or even the dirt late models. This is a different breed of racing for these stock cars on dirt.
Yeah, they don't really know what the surface is going to be. I mean, for years the racetrack's been slicked off by now, very dry, very predictable, but Springfield 2 weeks ago, wet surface. This racetrack is also providing a challenge because it is re-groomed because of all the weather we had the last couple of days and putting on 2 races this afternoon already.
I cannot believe what I'm seeing. Ryan Unzicker started 20th, and in the opening few laps of this racetrack, he's already up to 6th. Oh, we got a car on the wall here in the corner.
Buck Stevens in the 44 for Jeff McClure.
Oh, and Daniel Dye.
Points contenders here. Dye
Raja
and
Caruth.
second and third in the points tangling here.
Championship picture coming into focus possibly for Nick Sanchez here today, as second and third in the points have trouble early at DuQuoin. Wow.
Right rear quarter panel's torn away on that composite body on Daniel Dye's Solar Fit Chevrolet. Up in turn 1.
That's some significant damage right there. He'll have to bring that down pit road. They don't want that sheet metal rubbing up against the right rear tire.
Biggest worry is what we see below the rear bumper cover, Bob. He got into the wall. There's something here.
Let's take a look at the Auto Park It replay of what happened. We had our eyes on Unzicker, and behind that, maybe a little contact, can't tell exactly, between the 43 of Dye and the 6 of Caruth. Caruth was ahead of Daniel Dye going into that corner. They both got around and made contact after their spins. Bad break for some championship contenders already in this one, but we still got plenty to go. And you know what? On a dirt track, that arrow, important, but maybe not as important as some other racetracks on the circuit. Taking a look at Jesse Love with the Performance Seat onboard camera. He is your leader during the first caution of the day for the ARCA Menards series at DuQuoin. Trouble between 2 points contenders, the 6 of Raja Caruth, as well as the 43 of Daniel Dye. And now we got more activity all over the racetrack. Buck Stevens in the 44 with trouble.
Maybe he's axle deep. I mean, it's really wet up there. Still in turn 3. The tangle with the leaders, Bob, the 2 points contenders, was in turn 1. Could have been a battle of real estate, but we see some early damage on these cars. You see some of the noses are caked in already. A lot of different various ways to get those noses clean. Look at the leader. You see the Toyota logo?
Yeah.
That's what you want to see all day. Sammy Smith doesn't have that choice running behind in that black 18.
So I haven't heard this in a while, at least not with you in the booth, because Kristen, you have been doing an unbelievable job for the ARCA Menards series, but I want to know, what are Trado's keys to this race?
It's a dirt mile, it drives different than Springfield, and there's 3 things to keep in mind. This racetrack specifically, you want to be the inside on restarts. You don't want to be left out on the outside. You lose a ton of time going to turn 1, and you'll lose about 20 car lengths in turn 2 if you don't have it off the loose stuff. I call it a corner dance. The left front fender, you want to have that left front headlight right about at the guardrail on the bottom run here. If all goes to play in past races, you need to dance to the corner. That left front just inches off that guardrail on the bottom in the corners. Also, you need to keep that grill clean, man. A chilled grill means everything. Talked to some drivers. They had some overheating issues at Springfield. Similar conditions, a lot of packed on in the early stages of the race, caused some issues for some of the drivers, and that really heated up these ARCA Ilmor 396 engines.
And you mentioned Sammy Smith, second place, that clean grill on Jesse Love's machine, but take a look at that grill right there. That is something of a little bit of a concern for all these teams when they come down. We have 2 race breaks today. When they come down, they'll be cleaning that grill. But back in the day, you used to see teams have chains and lug nuts bouncing to knock that dirt off these cars.
Spooled up, chicken wire, you name it. All sorts of different variations. What they're doing here is there's a lower inlet underneath that front bumper. That inlet now has a solid plate. You see the Toyota logo? They're similar in their layout between the 2 leaders. It's easy to tell where that Toyota logo is. That's a solid piece of box that's holding off the bodywork. You see a gap there between those panels, the panel and the front nose piece. The 18 of Sammy Smith, similar complexion. They also have some netting above the front bumper. That is also an air inlet they're trying to keep clean with several layers of screens on the nose of these cars.
And driver I want to mention now in the hot pit area right now, and that's the E3 spark plugs machine for Will Kimmel. Will Kimmel making his 130th career ARCA Menards series start here. He's had some success on the dirt tracks and was looking for some good fortune here today.
Yeah, he's really done well, but he was really disappointed with his run at Springfield and Savannah. I feel embarrassed for these guys. It's his 25th start on the dirt tracks. They don't run all the races, but Kimmel Racing, along with Scott Melton, you may have seen him on the big tracks, will get a couple of chances this year to race, but he always keys on these two races, the Dirt Miles and his home track, Salem Speedway.
Oh, yes, and Salem is still to come, the penultimate race of the year for the ARCA Menards series. And the Kimmels, man, they love themselves some Salem Speedway.
He's got some chains on the front bumper there, and he's got some lug nuts welded onto the bottom of those chains to keep that fence active. Those chains actually knock the dirt off as you travel down the racetrack with that lug nut on the very bottom to weigh it all down.
Here is the 988 suicide prevention machine for Daniel Dye, involved in this incident to bring out the caution. Let's get an update from Mike Massaro.
Yeah, checking in on Daniel Dye's situation, Bob. A damage report there. I'm told that the damage is limited to the right rear of that car. You'll see a little bit of quarter panel damage there that he sustained, but otherwise okay. Now, one interesting thing about the 43 today, because of the rain yesterday, his normal spotter had to go home. He has a normal job. 43 back on pit road, by the way. Instead, Chad Bryant, the crew chief, is spotting. He's on the spotter stand, also crew chiefing this car. Meanwhile, the 43 of Daniel Dye back down pit road as they go to work trying to repair the damage to the right rear of the 43.
And they've done a good job at it, Jim. If you take a look, they got that 200-mile-an-hour duct tape out there. They've kind of beat it out a little bit, trying to get it as straight as possible to make sure there's no rub, no nothing going on that right rear.
And if you catch air and you get a lot of dirt packed in that rear quarter panel, it's going to do more than
it's heavy.
Sail. It's going to gain weight, change the balance of that race car, and cause a whole lot of issues. Rajah Caruth coming out of pit road as well.
Yeah, both drivers on pit road to fix and assess the damage on both of those machines. So obviously only 8 laps into this one right now, but these two big-time championship implications here. What do you think about that?
It's a big deal to get this right because Rajah Caruth's not been in a lot of accidents, nor does he know how much damage there is underneath the bodywork of this car. Daniel Dye's damage came from impacting the right rear quarter panel of the 6. Doesn't look like there's a lot of damage on Rajah's car, outside, externally on the body.
We have 4 onboard cameras for you today on this MAV TV broadcast. Let's take a look at one of them. Sammy Smith with the Sioux Chief camera here. We see inside the cockpit of this race car. And Sammy, a 3-time winner in the ARCA Menards series this year, looking good early. Doesn't have a lot of experience on the dirt, but doing a darn good job. A driver that does have a lot of experience carries one of our other onboard cameras with General Tire, and that's Ryan Unzicker, now up to 3rd. And Jim, he started 20th.
That's amazing. Those General Tire grabbers, man, they're doing the job, and Ryan's really getting it done, plowing through this field quickly in this race.
At the back of the field is where we will find the 988 suicide prevention onboard camera with Daniel Dye 2nd overall in the series point standings, looking for his first win this year. Remember that big and emotional win at Berlin last year. And the final camera right now belongs to Jesse Love, the Performance Seed camera. We're about 1 lap before we go back to green flag racing, and Jesse Love trying to collect that Performance Seed, double down with the dirt races this year. 50 grand on the line for him.
It's a big deal. It's really big for Jesse. It was a huge win for him. He won just 1 race last year at the Salem Speedway, passing Ty Gibbs late in the race. But this season, it's been a trial for him. He's splitting time in this number 20 car with Corey Heim. This is the first time they raced together in the same race, but Jesse's got a lot going for him, including that front grille is nice and clean. Others like Unzicker, they've got a couple of dings already in the early laps.
And that's a side skirt on that 24. It really won't pose a problem for Unzicker, but it could cause another caution, honestly. If that were able to break free, could land on the racetrack in the racing group, something to keep an eye on with that 24 car.
And you know how important right rears are in dirt racing, Bob. You want to keep that right side as sealed off as you can. That's a little more air that gets underneath that bodywork. The final race for this team with Bill Hendren. He's selling the team after this, so after 48 years, the 24 team of Unzicker, that's up for sale at auction next month.
So we're about to go back green, but before we do, let's find out something with Mike.
Yeah, just a quick update on the 6 car of Rajah Caruth. Checked in with Brad Means, his crew chief, just moments ago. Said they did sustain some left rear damage to the quarter panel. Also, a little bit of a tweak to the wheel as well. Perhaps a little bit bent there, but I asked him if the car was drivable. He said absolutely. Rajah's still on the track. Bob?
And the interesting thing is we're about to go green again. You talk to that team, and they have the ride heights on that race car higher than any other racetrack on the circuit.
Yeah, and if you watched this race 1 year ago, Bob, it was a treacherous track at DuQuoin. Landon Lewis won the race with a very high front end, very soft in the rear springs to get that nose up out of the dirt. A lot of cars had issues at Springfield. Not the 6 and the 2, the teammates for Rev Racing. They had their cranked up all the way, according to Brad Beans, what he told me before the race.
All right, Jesse Love going to lead him to the green. They fire right now. I'm going to watch that 24 of Ryan Unzicker in turn number 1.
Could he be laying back? I don't think so. He wants that bottom lane. There goes that side skirt on Unzicker's 24 already, flying off like a Frisbee.
Unzicker on the bottom. He's going to be able to get to that second spot. Look out. Ryan Unzicker, 4-time winner in dirt late model action this year, already up to second. And now a good battle for third.
Great battle here. The 15 is Corey Heim. Right behind him, the 17 of Taylor Gray, and that white and black number 2 of Nick Sanchez trying to get to the bottom. And who wants the bottom more than Sammy Smith? Just about no one else on the racetrack. He wants to get on the bottom.
Yeah,
Black 18.
Forget about what I said about getting sideways. Oh, Amber Balkan, trouble for that rookie. Up against the inside guardrail with major damage to the right rear and some to the right front as well for that 30-year-old female driver. Oh, we're going to take a look at what happened to Amber Balkan going down the straightaway. Maybe a little contact right there with another car. Balkan coming down the racetrack a little bit, and hard to tell who that other car was.
She came off a turn 2 low. The other car made her look low for a second, got in the back of Amber and sent her around. Another bad break for that 30 team.
Bad break here. We will return with more green flag action on MAV TV. A slow start to this one for the ARCA Menards series at DuQuoin. Already 2 caution periods in the first 13 laps of this race. There is Kelly Kovsky, Midwest dirt late model and dirt modified guy. Kovsky has run 32 times in the ARCA Menards series, and he does have 6 top 5 finishes, all of them coming because he's that dirt specialist on the dirt in ARCA competition.
30 of those 32 starts came on these dirt miles in Springfield and DuQuoin. Springfield, his home track, ended in disappointment. Last year here, he crashed in practice and never even raced.
Yeah.
But now, Bob, we see here today, the right front of the number 16. He had to start 21st in the trunk based upon owner's points. But that damage, I noticed it early on, the right front fender on the number 16 Brandt Chevrolet.
And so much history with the Kovskys and Justin Allgaier and Grant Enfinger and so forth. It's like a family for them, especially when they come to one of these dirt miles.
It's a big deal for them. Grant Enfinger's been his crew chief. He's been listed as the crew chief as recently as this weekend. I don't know if Grant is still here or not. But keep in mind, Kelly was his crew chief when he ran for points and finished 4th with Allgaier's team back in 2011 in the ARCA Menards Series Championship. Deep history. Great to see Kelly back behind the wheel here after that horrific accident he had a couple, I'd call it speed weeks ago now, at Volusia County Speedway.
Amber Balkan banged up, battered, and bruised, Mike Massaro.
Yeah, that's one way to put it, Bob, for sure. She said she got driven straight into the wall. She's already been on pit road once, trying to repair damage to the right front. Just torn up. The team said the nose was basically torn off that race car. Also, the right rear is down. The 30 car now coming back to pit road for a second time as they continue to try to repair that car, trying to get it back out. But extensive damage to the 30 of Amber Balkan. She's just going to try to get that car to the finish, but it's awfully damaged.
And Amber does have experience on the dirt in open wheel racing, so was hoping for some good runs here on the dirt in ARCA.
Yeah, just thinking back to that Auto Parker replay we saw, she was on the bottom, getting off, off of turn 2, pretty square, and then a car behind her, I think, was just deciding if he wanted to pass left or right, and they just got together.
So it looks like we're going to go green this next time by as Amber Balkan pulls off of pit road, a very narrow and tight pit road by the pond that is down the front stretch here and into turns 1 and 2 at this historic mile facility. The ARCA Menards Series visiting here each and every year. And now, here we go. Jesse Love, he's got a lot of dirt experience, but not as much as Ryan Unzicker to his outside.
Let's see what Unzicker does. Piling into turn number 1. Will this be our first Reese's Sweet move of the race? I'm telling you, I'm going to guarantee it's going to give you worth a look. Don't go anywhere.
Let's listen from Sammy Smith's perspective. Good run for Unzicker into the first corner. Jesse Love can't get underneath him. Will they have a little bumper tag? I think they do down there in the corner. But Ryan Unzicker to the lead here at DuQuoin.
Ryan's done a lot of racing here in the upper Midwest. Illinois is his home. He lives in El Paso. He's the El Paso Express. I mean, this kid has done a lot this year. Running with the Mars Dirt Late Model Series. This is no big deal for him to get a restart like that, to grab the lead from the outside.
Hey, listen, Unzicker has been wrestling that car. Jesse Love has been smooth in the 20. Now, Jesse Love trying to learn a little bit from Unzicker, find out what he's doing, and maybe be able to pull back on by for that lead.
Unzicker's attacking it like it's the last lap. Jesse's really just trying to maintain here. You see Unzicker really having to fight it. With the USAC Silver Crown race, even the veterans like Brian Tyler and Cody Swanson in the race just held an hour or two ago really had issues in turns 1 and 2 getting through this racetrack.
Trouble for championship contender Raja Caruth. Smoke billowing from the back end of that machine early here at DuQuoin. Oh my, we're still green flag. We don't see a caution just yet, but Raja Caruth involved in that earlier incident, and the yellow flag now does fly as problems possibly under the hood for Raja Caruth.
Extensive amount of smoke. That is certainly an engine or drivetrain issue. Raja's climbing out of the 6. That Gamebridge Chevrolet, we saw the nose had a lot of dirt packed in it. We know he had some issues to the left rear from contact with Daniel Dye. Could that have misaligned something underneath that caused some kind of issue with the drivetrain?
Raja is out of the car. Officials take a look at it. Whew. Ryan Unzicker in the lead, but you know what? Jesse Love has big-time aspirations here today at DuQuoin. Dirt dreams for Jesse Love. He has been so successful early in his career at the Illinois State Fair. He won at Springfield, and today, if he goes back-to-back on the dirt, it'll be worth 50 grand for that young driver. Bad break today here at DuQuoin in the ARCA Menards series for one of the championship contenders. Let's find out more with Mike Massaro. You can see Ryan Unzicker inside that car. Looks like he has one of those towels with the poles.
A Swiffer.
Yep, wiping the infield. There is the car of Raja Caruth being carried to the infield. We're efforting an interview right now with Raja Caruth, trying to find out exactly what happened. Have some technical difficulties, so we'll get back to Mike Massaro in just a second. But this is a big blow in the title quest.
He can finish no better than 17th, even if they get that car repaired. We talked about the running within a position of each other the last 4 or 5 races.
Let's go back down to Mike.
Hey, Bob, Raja Caruth just made his way back to his pit box, a little bit disappointed. What happened?
I mean, I don't know. I just, I was easy, on the brakes in the corner because I know the noses can catch, and I didn't feel like I applied that much pressure, and I guess it just dug in. I followed everybody else, and it dug in, and it just ripped the radiator out of it, so it really stinks.
What is the track like right now?
It is rough as hell. I mean, with I'll let them pass. Nonetheless, our Max Siegel Chevy was pretty good. I messed up early there and spun, and we made a change when we came back and checked, our damage and passed some guys and felt pretty good with what I had, but really sucks with getting the nose caught. But about the track, man, I don't know why it wasn't prepped yesterday, and when we had all day and it was all sunny, and I don't know, stuff out of my control, but it's nothing I can really do about it.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, Mike. Sure.
As you can hear, Raja, a little bit disappointed, came in with some high hopes, obviously in the middle of this championship race, looking for a better outcome. Bob?
Rough as a place you don't want to be is how Raja Caruth talked about the characteristics of this DuQuoin racetrack. But I want to talk about Joe Cooksey, the veteran with 144 ARCA Menards Series starts. His last win back in 2017 in a Pro Late model in the CRA Jenks All-Stars Tour. Well, Cooksey's running in 7th.
His last ARCA Menards Series start came here at DuQuoin in 2018, where he finished 11th. He finished 9th that year at Springfield. But talking to Joe at Springfield, he said Andy and Schrader were just talking one day, and I happened upon the conversation. He said, "What do you think, Joe?" He put something together for DuQuoin. He's like, "I think I can." FuelVen's been a sponsor of his forever. Great to see Joe Cooksey in this field, in the number 10. And he's another driver. He's like a point stealer. He's another guy who's going to run well. He finished, top 10 at 11 straight races over a span from 1996 on through 11 seasons here at DuQuoin. he's got a lot of success here. So if it's bumpy and rough, I think Unzicker and Cooksey have the advantage on the entire field.
So let's reset the stage for everyone. 21 laps into 100 here. The front row being shared by Ryan Unzicker and Jesse Love. We were told by ARCA Menards Series officials that they're going to keep an eye on the restarts by Unzicker, maybe playing a couple of games on the front row there. That's something to watch as he carries our General Tire camera. But going back to the first two rows going into this restart here, I also look at Taylor Gray. We mentioned he started way back in this starting lineup in 17th to match his number, and he's now in third.
And he's able to use the bottom really effectively, and that's where he's going to start inside row number 2 in that Ford Performance Mustang. Behind our restart leader, there's a restart line, not a zone, in ARCA Menards Series racing. So if Unzicker gets that line first, that's all that matters as the control car. Last restart, I'm guessing he might have been a little too close to the control car, which happened to be the 20 of Jesse Love.
Listen, you're not doing anything wrong until you're told you're doing something wrong, and that's the game that Ryan Unzicker, with so much experience on dirt, is playing right here. He's won an ARCA Menards Series event on the dirt, trying to get it done once again here today. And you look for any advantage that you can have over the rest of the competition, and he's going against a stellar car there from the stables of Venturini Motorsports on the front row.
And Jesse has a ton of dirt experience as well, just not recently in an ARCA Menards Series car. After winning at Springfield, they had it pretty much in hand the entire race. Unzicker was in that race too, but he was not as strong as he is right now today.
Denise Engel waves the green flag again, and that was a slow start. Unzicker said, okay, ARCA, I'm going to prove to you that we'll be nice and steady coming to the green.
That gave Jesse Love the chance to stay even with him right now. Unzicker a little bit of a tail wiggle. Still on the gas pedal and ahead of Jesse Love. That's a great move there. Not a lot of guys would be able to do that and stay off the car on the outside. Unzicker was able to do it in the number 24 RJR Transportation Toyota.
Pure aggression for Ryan Unzicker. You can see him, that 24, out the front windshield of our performance seed camera for Jesse Love. But remember, right now, we're looking about 10 laps short of our first race break as well. 8 of the General Tire Groove tires in the pits. It's going to allow people like Ryan Unzicker, who's really pounded the dirt here, maybe to get on some fresher rubber and adjust that race car.
Yeah, and you see how rough this racetrack is looking out the windshield of Sammy Smith's car there. Sammy still runs in fourth, but he's in a nest right now. All these cars jockeying for position, really almost jockeying for visibility right now. That track surface has been washed away by sheer lap upon lap, and now it's dusting off a bit for these teams.
So Taylor Gray lost a couple of spots, now makes it 3 wide. Taylor Gray on the inside, Sammy Smith on the middle, and look at the 15 of Corey Heim up top.
Nick Sanchez didn't want to give him room, but Sammy snuck down to the bottom. In that maneuvering, though, it gave Corey Heim and the Mobil 1 Toyota the advantage in the 15.
Watch Nick Sanchez. He leads the points. He's in that white, black, and yellow number 2. Right now, I'm sure he's being told, listen, Raja, your teammate is out. Daniel Dye back in 9th. We have a chance to gain some big-time ground and gap the rest of the field in this title fight.
Yeah, Sanchez is already making his 38th ARCA Menards Series start as well. This team made huge gains this year, but Nick has the most experience of the 3 title contenders, and that's really good advice if they pass it along, or Nick just assumed that, knowing he saw Raja and Daniel Dye spinning early in this race together.
Hey, Mike, what you got on Sanchez?
Well, certainly, as you said, Bob, Nick Sanchez paying attention to what happened to his teammate, taking note of the conditions of the racetrack, just to kind of update you, get you a little behind the scenes of what happened with Raja. You said he just hit a rut there and it knocked the radiator out of the car. Now, Sanchez, mindful of that, of course, but also, as you alluded to, he's thinking about the championship. But I talked to him before this race, and he said, the championship is great. I'm happy to be in it, but really, this is a developmental series. It's a series about getting noticed. In order to do that, I need to take home some trophies. He's not going to be satisfied unless he gets that 2 car to the front.
And he's showing it right now, Mike. Take a look at this. Trying to go to the outside of Sammy Smith. By the way, was just told that Ken Schrader out of the race.
3-time winner at DuQuoin, raced at Springfield. That's a disappointment run for him because he and Andy Hillenberg have had so much success together. Great to see Schrader back here, a 6-time winner on the dirt in the ARCA Series, unfortunately already out of it.
And let's not forget, he's won on the dirt here at DuQuoin and a modified as well.
Well, just about everything here. He's run a modified here, a sportsman here, a foot race here.
Yeah, he's run the Silver Crown race here in the past.
Sometimes a race to the cooler in the infield, I'm told.
Oh, that's not sometimes. That's often for Ken Schrader.
Rarely loses one of those.
Oh,
I see some water spitting out the front windshield of the 17 of Taylor Gray.
Oh no, could trouble be brewing? There you see the overflow on that 17 machine, the black car for Taylor Gray, right at the left front portion of that windshield. He's been spitting some water. That's something to keep an eye on.
Running in third, the Sioux Chief showdown points. That pays about $1 million in itself. This is round 9 of 10. Taylor wanted to make some ground up on Sammy Smith. That's a huge implications for Taylor. And well, that could be a bigger payday if he's able to hang on to second, but I don't know. That water coming out of there, that's a big-time trouble spot.
And I'm cringing for everybody right here in this battle behind Corey Heim. Sammy Smith battling for that Sioux Chief Showdown championship, but also you got Nick Sanchez battling for the overall championship, and you can barely see anything out the front of this Sioux Chief onboard camera for Sammy Smith.
Hey, it's impressive to see Sammy Smith race as well as he has. It's more impressive right now in this moment to see Nick Sanchez slip by the Iowa teenager. Sanchez is going after it in the number 2 Chevrolet for Rev Racing. Ran in the top 5 at the dirt race. He finished 6th at Springfield. At Milwaukee, made a late pass as well for position. Now he's making some passes right here on the dirt in his second ever dirt race at DuQuoin.
Nick Sanchez up to 5th at DuQuoin, getting by Sammy Smith. Now he has his sights set on Corey Heim, who's pretty good on the dirt as well, and having a great season on a part-time basis in the NASCAR Truck Series as well, with 2 wins to his credit.
Yeah, Corey won at Atlanta. He also won at Gateway from the pole, a track he raced down in ARCA, the ARCA Menards Series in the past. But when it comes to dirt racing, Corey had never raced dirt, and he really has been successful. Top 5 finishes in his dirt tries here in the ARCA Menards Series.
And oh, by the way, we've been paying attention to all those other battles. Take a look at this right now for Ryan Unzicker, 31 laps into this race. And I can't believe what our scoring shows, an 8.3 second advantage over Jesse Love.
That's huge. It's going to pay dividends for him because other teams are going to say, what do we need to do to change our car? I'm guessing Ryan's going to say, give me a glass of water and make sure that grill is clean. That car is running really strong right now. And we saw some trouble spots in turns 1 and 2. Unzicker, by nature, by innate feel of the wheel, can work through those, and it's not as big of a deal to upset that car. We heard Rajah Cruz say, man, the track's really bumpy when he got out of the car. Unzicker is just fighting through it like it's another day at the dirt track.
You talked about 2 key points when we spoke before we went on the air. We just saw Jesse Love hit both of those points down in turns 1 and 2, right at the beginning and right in the middle, and the cars are getting rocked when they hit those bumps.
And it's gushy. It's not a hole. It's not a gap there. It's actually really soft. All that rain that came through here, I watched how the grader worked it. Bob Sargent on the grader is always fun to watch. But when it came to inside by that guardrail, if you get too low in turn 1, it's a lot more wet than any other place on the racetrack.
Just a couple of laps left before we have our first race break of this one at or near lap 35. We'll have another one at lap 70. There is Brad Smith, top 10 in points. 400 career starts. This is 401 here today, 2 top 10s, and he is a diehard in the ARCA Menards Series.
Great to see Brad here. He's racing also the full ARCA Menards Series East schedule. And Brad, you mentioned, he's a stalwart, but he's always here, always running. It's his 20th start here at DuQuoin, his best run at 12th back in 2016.
Unzicker, will he get to a 10-second margin by virtue of the next lap or so before we see that first race break? He is really rocking and rolling. And Joe Cooksey, a little bit slow on the racetrack, goes to the inside. He will put him a lap down. Cooksey running in 10th.
He was up to 7th, running in the same straightaway as this leader here, but Unzicker is just in a different planet right now. Different solar system for that number 24.
You know, Kelly Kovsky is pretty quick behind the leader right now. A lot of people might think, well, Jesse Love is right there. No, that's Kelly Kovsky. But Kovsky 2 laps down in 13th, hoping to make up some ground and maybe get back on the lead lap if there are a couple of cautions here today.
The right front fender continues to get peeled away, and the number 16. That damage continues to hamper his efforts behind our leader Unzicker, pacing with him, which is awesome.
He's fast. Honestly, I think he was quicker than Ryan Unzicker right now. He's closed the gap, and we're talking about a car a couple of laps down, that white car, that number 16 for Kelly Kovsky.
This is a big mile racetrack, and the leader's going to turn number 3 as the second place car of Jesse Love's just exiting turn 2. He's got a straightaway lead on the field now.
This time by, we're expecting to see the yellow wave, possibly, maybe not. We'll have to get a word. There it is. Yellow flag waves. This is the first race break, and Ryan Unzicker only got to a 9-second advantage over Jesse Love.
And everybody on the ropes here. Let's see what these teams do. We know Taylor Gray likely will take water. to get water in that system. And these teams are on an island. They're in the infield. Their haulers are outside turn 4 in the fair. They're literally in the fairgrounds during the fair.
Oh, no.
Brought everything in.
Tony Breidinger, 5th in points, was just about to talk about how she's 8th overall.
The left front down?
In the race, and it looks like the left front tire is soft on that Pit Viper number 25 for Venturini Motorsports.
Another big blow. We mentioned the difference in her and Greg Van Alst racing for this championship. Both racing for the Bounty Rookie of the Year, but Breidinger's got a bunch more starts, and she actually raced a couple more dirt races, and it's just amazing to see how things are changing quickly here for these points contenders. Daniel Dye issues. Raja Karuth already out of it, and now 5th in points. Tony Breidinger having issues.
So it looks like right now Breidinger was the 9th car on the lead lap. We'll find out what is going to happen with her when we come back.
This MAV TV Motorsports Network broadcast is brought to you by Sioux Chief, America's manufacturer of plumbing, drainage, supply, and support products. Lucas Oil, keep that engine alive. Sprecher Brewing Company, Milwaukee's original craft brewery. And by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Reese's, not sorry.
Welcome back to the Rust-Oleum. Automotive finishes 100 at the DuQuoin State Fairgrounds for the ARCA Menards Series under the first race break. And there you see our leader, Ryan Unzicker, and all of the teams going to work on their race cars, changing some tires, making some adjustments to the cars. But this caution was brought out by Tony Breidinger. Up against the wall in turn number 2, we saw something that looked like a frame rail. We're not sure if it came from her car, but stuck up into some thicker mud up in turn number 2 as well. So we'll get a report on what's going on there. But Tony Breidinger really trying to go after it and learn a lot in stock car racing here with the ARCA Menards Series.
Two things that I've learned in the ARCA Menards Series is definitely drafting at Daytona and Talladega, and also just racecraft at the longer races. I think racecraft comes into play a lot, and just the racing is very intense. So for me, it's just focusing on improving, especially with these tracks that I haven't really been to, just improving every single session out there. So I don't pay attention too much to the scoreboard. So talking with my team, I have teammates that have experience at all these tracks, so that's been really helpful for me. I'm just talking with Jesse, especially going into the short track races that he's been to before. That's been really helpful for me. So yeah, I would say the biggest thing is just getting as much information and notes as possible to prepare yourself for all these new places. Amber is great. She's been a friend of mine, and it's exciting that we both have these shots of racing full time this year, so I'm very excited for her on that. I think we definitely are close competitors, but I don't know if we have like a rivalry just against us. I think for us, we are just competitive with everyone in general. It's great to be the first Arab American female in NASCAR, but also I don't want to be the last. So the biggest thing for me is I want to make sure that whenever I retire and move on, that there's other girls coming up. And I would say I really want it bad to be the first female to win an ARCA race. I think that would obviously be making history, which is really cool. But yeah, I would say that's definitely my #1 goal this year. So it's definitely what I strive for every weekend.
Tony Breidinger, the focus of our Bounty Rookie Spotlight, and there she stands looking at that race car. Something amiss, got stuck up off of turn number 2, running in the top 10. She has 4 top 10s this year, will not get her 5th here this year. And there is Bill Venturini down there as well, legendary car owner and former ARCA champion.
The only credentialed scooter in the ARCA pits, Big Bill.
Bill, the entire Venturini family, so important here in the laurels of the ARCA history books, and we thank all of them for what they have done for ARCA. We'll be right back here to DuQuoin. About to go back green here, 36 laps into 100 for the ARCA Menards Series at DuQuoin State Fairgrounds in Illinois. Interesting development on pit road. All the cars coming down there, and Taylor Gray with some trouble. What's going on, Mike?
the car would not refire as they pushed him off of pit road. They finally, about midway down pit road, as they were pushing it, it just has refired. It's back out on the racetrack. But even bigger issues they were trying to correct during that break. That's the operative word, too. He has lost brakes. Apparently, he had exploded a caliper during the course of that run, had absolutely no brakes. They refilled.
So also what we see on pit road with the hood up is Jesse Love, not out on the racetrack just yet. So wonder maybe something going on with Jesse Love's Venturini Motorsports number 20 as well.
That team leads the owner points. Jesse's looking for the $50,000 bonus. The team continues to discuss what could be wrong. They had the hood pins down. There is a certain situation here. The pace car is rolling. The 5-minute clock is up. When that pace car rolls, you see crew chief Shannon Rush keeping an eye on the guy in the black shirt and pants above the car. He's keeping an eye on the pace car. This team has gone underneath the cowling of that air cleaner to get something fixed, perhaps in a linkage with the throttle or something else. But they've got a limited amount of time to get this fixed, changed, to take the spot back they earned before this race break. If you're able to beat the pace car out, you get your spot back as you came to pit road relative to those who pitted. That'd be second for this team if they can do it.
I think you're right. It's got to be something with the throttle linkage. We'll keep an eye on what's going on right now. We understand we're getting a report that another interesting development for Taylor Gray might be leaking some fluid. That's the initial report from somebody on pit road. So we'll see what happens right now. Looks like the 20 indeed does go a lap down. So Jesse Love, second in this race, trouble up underneath the hood. That team's still assessing what's going on.
To his advantage, just like Taylor Gray earlier this year, Taylor Gray came back at Pocono by the very same situation. Taylor Gray was on pit road, went a lap down, came back and won the race. They're not out of it yet in the 20 team.
What's going on, Mike?
Just wanted to finish up what I was saying about the 17 with Taylor Gray. Has serious brake issues over the course of that run. They had exploded a caliper. The reservoir was empty. They had to refill it with brake fluid, but he had absolutely no brakes, and that was a problem trying to balance the car through the corners. It was tight, and when he throttled up, it would get snappy loose, and couldn't use the brakes to correct things. So it's going to be interesting to see if he gets the brakes back during the course of this run. They refilled that reservoir, but there's no guarantee the brakes are back.
Well, Mike, we're looking from outside our window, and we have an interesting perspective up here. Our tower is in turn number 1, and as Jim and I looked outside of our booth, we see down on the racetrack, way up out of the groove, but what appears to be some brake pads. I'm not exactly sure because we're about 50, 75 feet from there, but we see something down there on the racetrack. We'll take a look at what that is. No, it's not. It's part of the frame, quite possibly from something with Tony Breininger, who knows, but a piece of frame from one of the race cars on the racetrack. There's 2 of them actually down there right in front of our booth where we call all the races for here at DuQuoin.
Dirt equals difference maker. You mentioned it once earlier today, Bob. It's worth saying right now. This could change everything. Suchief showdown points. We're talking about race victories for Unziger. He won on the dirt just 2 years ago. Can a dirt ringer win at DuQuoin again?
Now, Jim, let me propose something else to you. Could it be go time? We talked about that weather, which was to our east a little while ago. As we look out onto the backstretch, we see right now an ominous cloud lurking over there. We're even getting some reports that there might be some drizzle, a few raindrops on the backstretch. So something to keep an eye on right now. We're 12 laps short of halfway.
This track will get really slick really quickly. This dirt track's been worked in, worked on, hard packed. Yes, they have grooves and tires, but I'm telling you, these cars, 3,300 pounds coming through, if there's any moisture on the racetrack, they really got to play it careful entering the corners.
Getting ready to go green, and crew chief for Sammy Smith, Mark McFarland, actually, just see him walk down to the inside of turn number 1, standing down there to see what his driver is doing coming to this restart. Mark McFarland, smart guy, former racer himself.
Yeah, big time. Just get another perspective down here, trying to get Sammy every ounce of ability. He knows this could be a critical restart, and there could be at least one more if we go distance here with a second race break upcoming.
You saw him actually hugged onto that light pole on the inside of this racetrack. Unzicker able to take the top spot. Taylor Gray now trying to fend off Corey Heim, but look at Corey Heim like a cannonball. Right now, fast and into second, and now trying to hunt down Ryan Unzicker.
Taylor Gray in third has got smoke. It's not the dust in the racetrack. It's coming out the back of his Ford number 17. Huge issues for Taylor Gray right here.
We heard a report that the 17 might be leaking some fluid. This could have some big-time implications within the Sioux Chief Showdown point standings and title hunt for that series within the series.
Just 4 points ahead of third place in the standings, and Gray's going behind the wall. 2 issues this year, once at Iowa and once here. Otherwise, an impeccable season for that 17-year-old out of New Mexico.
You look at these race cars, and they are rocking in the corners today at DuQuoin. Bumpy racetrack down in 1 and 2, a little bit smoother in 3 and 4. Here goes Sammy Smith to the inside of Nick Sanchez, going to give him the shoulder a little bit, but Sanchez fights back strong on the outside.
They really are learning lap by lap. You count the laps they ran at Springfield. Now we're 40 laps into this one. They're 110 laps into their ARCA Menards Series on dirt career. They're doing a great job here, racing for position, 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
So it's Unzicker over Corey Heim. Then you see the 15, actually now, the 15 right in front of Sammy Smith. Unzicker, Heim, Smith, Sanchez, Love, the top 5.
Yeah, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. With the 15 out the front windshield in that 2nd spot of Corey Heim. The cars get that close. You see that cowling flap pop up. The air gets disturbed enough to just pop that up. Even on the dirt tracks, the air makes any difference.
Hold on. I think he was getting a shot from the back. Indeed he was. Sammy Smith from that onboard camera way out of shape, and it looked like Sanchez was on the back of that 18 car now, who has the tail fin basically flapping in the wind. And by the way, right now we're seeing Corey Heim in the 15 running really well, but Jesse Love now right behind Sammy Smith. We thought Jesse Love was a lap down. We'll get this clarified in just a second, but right now they have Jesse Love in the 20, scored in 4th.
Perhaps he got his spot back after discussion of what did go down. Sammy's got that rear tail section is flapping. You see parts of it flying off. That's some contact from Sanchez back there, 2 spots.
Taylor Gray, trouble for him here today, Mike.
Yeah, Taylor Gray had been running in the top 3 right before that race break, came down pit road. We knew you had some brake issues. Is that ultimately what ended your day?
No, we lost a motor there. I mean, that's the product you get whenever you bring stock cars to a dirt track and don't prep the track properly. So I'm gonna use a little bit of Kyle Busch's terminology and say the sun's gonna come up tomorrow, and we're gonna go fight at Bristol and hopefully go at some more races this year.
Thank you, Taylor. Taylor Gray obviously disappointed and had a tough day out there. Racetrack a little bit soft and challenging for sure.
A line from last night's NASCAR Cup Series race when Kyle Busch looked like he might be on the way to the win at Darlington, and I use that terminology of the sun will come up tomorrow.
Yeah, the engine just let go while leading under caution for Kyle Layton, the Southern 500 last night. Won by the 43, the King's car.
How about
back
that?
To Victor Lane. The stylized 43, that's on Daniel Dye's car here today. Would that be a big deal for Daniel to win here and get some serious points? He's back in 7th and 6th right now.
So congratulations to Eric Jones, but just want to clarify the whole situation with Jesse Love. We saw Jesse Love scored in the top 5, now the top 10 here, but we are told by ARCA Menards Series officials is that he is indeed a lap down. He did not beat the pace car during that first race break off of pit road, and by virtue of that, despite the scoring, he has scored a lap down by ARCA.
Scoring now shows him a lap down in 8th, but man, he's hanging on. If he gets that lucky dog, again, every caution, there is a chance of the car first off lead lap to get their lap back, and that could really put him back square into things here. Not far out of it. He knows he has the pace now. We're riding on board with Jesse. And driving behind that car, missing the rear bumper now. It's all gone off the 18.
And right now, he is scored the first car a lap down. So if we were to get that caution, like Jim said, he would be back on the lead lap. Daniel Dye, by the way, mentioned him early in this race, not for good reasons. He was involved in an incident, but Daniel Dye has fought back up to 5th.
Yeah, he's got another spot here, running 5th in the 43. That's Chevrolet. On board the 988, call 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Part of his sponsorship platform, gaining awareness for the race to stop suicide.
Is it a big surprise at this stage of the game, 3/4 of the way into this season, basically, that Daniel Dye has not won another ARCA race?
You know, I thought he'd be leading the points by now, really. Looking at how things shaped up and how new it was for Rev Racing to field 2 cars in the ARCA Menards Series full time. Dye's been in really good positions, but he's not been able to gap. We talked about that 5th, 6th, and 7th on the dirt mile. 3rd, 4th, and 5th last week at Milwaukee. Daniel's got to put on an impressive run here to get those points. 11 down heading into this one. He's got to half that one to really put the pressure on for the remainder of the schedule.
Well, what I'm impressed with is how he has bounced back. We thought Sanchez was going to be able to gap Daniel Dye with that earlier incident, but right now, Daniel Dye's in 5th, Sanchez is in 4th, and we still got a long way to go in this one, more than halfway still left in this race, so Daniel Dye still can possibly eat away at Nick Sanchez's title lead.
Yeah, both of these cars, we mentioned the Petty GMS 43 that won last night at Darlington. This is a GMS racing effort for Daniel. The Stylized 43 has been on his car since quarter midgets, but more importantly, Chad Bryant and the GMS racing team, they've got a lot of experience. They were not in a panic when that right rear fender was ripped away. They are getting a plan. They keep Daniel settled in. Keeping Daniel calm is part of the deal. He's just 18 years of age, just graduated high school in May, to keep that driver in contention, keep him cool, and what could have been a really upsetting start to this one.
Battle for position right here. Sammy Smith stalking Corey Heim. Corey Heim, winner on the dirt and ARCA competition, but Sammy Smith is getting his groove on here at DuQuoin. Sammy Smith looking better and better with each lap that he turns on the dirt.
Yeah, he's not just trying to drive the car just behind the other car. He's actually trying to find a way around him. He's trying to work through what is going to be a self-cleaning tear-off here in a minute.
2 of them. That might not be good, honestly, because they put these tear-offs, and with each race break, they usually tear off one of them. Both of them look like they're about to peel off that 18 car.
There's a lot of dirt flying around inside the car, too,
contact.
for visibility worries. Inside position here. Clean pass. Nicely done, Sammy.
I think there was a little contact down there between the two. Corey Heim slowed up a little bit, and now Corey Heim with his teammate Jesse Love behind him. Jesse Love, just a reminder right now, because of the problem he had underneath the hood, did not make it out on that first race break before the pace car went by, and because of that, he is a lap down.
Yeah, Jesse's just trying to get that car to handle as good as he can. We mentioned there's 2 race breaks built into this one. We'll have one 30 laps from the end of the 100 scheduled laps. Jesse right now has a really good race car, wants to know where it can run best and give feedback to his team to make some changes if indeed he gets that chance to join this fight back on the lead lap at some point.
I love listening to that. We're just talking about it with our hands up here. The throttle and how measured you need to be with that throttle to get around this dirt track in a big old heavy stock car.
Well, since the age of 10, he's been racing midgets. He's been racing wing sprint cars, non-wing sprint cars on dirt. He's raced the Lucas Oil Chili Bowl the last couple of years. I mean, he is into this big time. Keith Coons has given him some opportunities as well in the Lucas Oil POWRi National Midget League this season again. Just that footwork just comes with experience, and Jesse's got some at the tender age of 17.
Jesse Love giving Corey Heim all he can take right now. And this is not a battle for position. Right now, you're top 5, and we got some Ryan Unzicker fans on social saying, hey, show us Ryan Unzicker. He's got a big lead right now. There's Mark McFarland. We mentioned him. Watching his driver, Sammy Smith, who's in 2nd now, go around this racetrack.
And it could be all part of the plan. Hey, what do we need to do to get your car right? We think turn 1's going to be important. We know it's super critical on restarts. But just that ability to just say, I need to take a step away from the pit box, get away from the noise, literally, of what you see going on in the pits that may affect what you do. It's great to see that veteran leadership. McFarland finished 2nd twice last year on the dirt, on these dirt miles in ARCA with Ty Gibbs. In this very same car, a very similar setup.
Sioux Chief camera for Sammy Smith now in 2nd. Can he close in on Unzicker for the lead? Big question right now. Jesse Love running back in 7th. There is Greg Van Alst. Van Alst, top 5 in the point standings, running 6th here, and he has virtually no dirt experience.
I talked to him. He said, I ran a sprint car at Gas City. I don't know what age it was. It was like a half a life ago. And I said that zero experience helped him on Springfield, just getting the feel of it. He has Jim Long as his crew chief, and they've got the dangling chains,
yes,
part of their effort to keep that mud and clay piling up on that lower portion of their front bumper on their Ford.
He needs to be a little bit more stylish and be gold-plated maybe next year. Just past the halfway point in this one, 55 laps in the books on the DuQuoin dirt. Let's take a look at the Richmond Water Heaters mid-race recap. 2 leaders so far in this one, and it started with Jesse Love having a good run into the first turn and being able to take that lead.
On a brand new racetrack, just a couple laps into it, 2 points contenders, Dye and Raja Caruth go around.
And then Unzicker with the move to the lead by Jesse Love. Taylor Gray would succumb to engine problems and a wild battle between Nick Sanchez and the 2, as well as the 18 of Sammy Smith. But it's been all Ryan Unzicker in the second part of this first half of the race.
Took the lead on lap 17, and he's led since. The number 24, Ryan Unzicker, one-time winner. The ARCA Menards Series, what a great send-off it would be if he's able to hang on to this one after leading through the midway portion of this race.
So far, he is the Sprecher lap leader of the race. Ryan Unzicker able to lead a bunch of them so far in this one, so an impressive run so far. 2.9 seconds is the advantage from Unzicker back to second place, Sammy Smith.
It was 8 seconds before our race break, and now look at him run through. Getting up to Greg Van Alst, passing him with ease. The top 5, only the top 5 cars are on the lead lap because the punishing pace of this Chevrolet. Ryan Unzicker's 24.
Mike Massaro, what's going on?
Well, we've been talking about Jesse Love in the 20. Obviously, a big day for him. He was eligible for the dirt double, but he now finds himself down a lap. The reason is this broken throttle body. Part of the carburetor had broken right here. You can see this latch has broken. Consequently, he only had 2 cylinders. So during that last pit stop, they had to change this out to make sure he had full power. Team over the radio right now just telling him to drive, elbows up, try to get as much as he can. But obviously, this puts him far behind, much further than he expected to be.
Well, thank you so much, Mike Massaro. Mike's been a great addition to our broadcast team with MAV TV and the ARCA Menards series, a class act indeed with all that he's done in his career. Here we see that Jesse Love race car, and remember, okay, right now he's battling to get back on the lead lap. Problem is, Greg Van Alst just went a lap down as well. Now Van Alst, the first car, a lap down.
That's a big game changer for him, so he's really got to get after that blue 35. I'm telling you, Lloyd Gardner, I'm guessing his spotter is giving him a whole earful saying, get around that CB Fabricating Ford. You need to get that spot to get in position for the lucky dog.
So could Jesse Love's carburetor change be a Reese's Sweet move of the race nomination? If he's able to get back on the lead lap and fight for this win, it could be.
He's running top 5 speeds. We know he was right there with his teammate. He actually passed his teammate at one point in the Mobil 1 Toyota. That would be Corey Heim. So it's a great nomination for what that team has done on pit road as a sweet move.
Halfway in this one, just past the halfway point. I think there's 2 other nominations for the Reese's Sweet move of the race. And remember, tomorrow on ARCA Racing's Twitter, you can vote starting at 9 a.m. I think it was Sammy Smith saving his car when Nick Sanchez was beating on his back.
Open up the can of ham there.
Absolutely. And of course, Ryan Unzicker with that impressive bold move for the lead by Jesse Love.
I agree with both of those, Bob. Really good contending, really good runs. Really good choices. I think we'll have a few more, though. Unzicker's gapping the field. That is a Reese's Sweet move. If you're a Ryan Unzicker fan, and you know he's won a bunch of races this year in his home state, and the fans in the stands are here to see Ryan, and perhaps Kelly Kofsky, some local interest with these dirt guys, I'd say Ryan's on a sweet move of his own, just saying, boys, I've got it. I've got a handle on it.
Oh, no. I see Kelly Kofsky up on the outside groove, maybe right front down on that race car.
He was slow into turn number 1, Bob. Rolled past our position, way up out of the groove. 5th caution.
So remember, we say that the race brakes are at or near a certain point of this race. Could this be considered? Not sure. Kelly Kofsky, though, going to get penalized by ARCA Menards Series officials for intentionally bringing out a caution. He will be scored, knocked out, 5 laps down.
Yeah, so the right front went down going down the front stretch. Did not have a chance to come to pit road, but when he stopped on the racetrack and then continued, boom, that's an automatic penalty. When you bring out a caution and still able to roll.
Here's something big, too. We take a look. When we stop, we're looking at everything on the racetrack, our scoring monitors, you name it. Kelly Kowski, he's got some trouble on the right front of that car, but we're looking at Jesse Love, and guess what? Jesse Love is now going to be on the lead lap. He got by Greg Van Alst, the first car a lap down, and guess what? Now he's on the lead lap. Impressive.
Exactly what they needed, and they were really in a rush. They were in a good position. Greg had a good line. Greg knew it was on the line as well, but Jesse has such a good race car right now. He got by him in the just nick of time before that caution came out.
That's why I said that carburetor change itself could be a nomination for the Reese's Sweet Move of the race. Impressive by that team for Venturini Motorsports to recognize what was going on during that race break, change that, and then get their lap back after losing a lap because the pace car passed the exit of pit road before he was able to get back out on the racetrack during that race break.
And during this caution, we see there's some debris here and there. We see body parts falling off of Sammy Smith's car. We see there's white body panels from somebody's car on the racetrack. We got a chance now to clean up this dirt surface. One other Sweet Move nomination, Daniel Dye's team.
Yes.
They had an issue early on. As the overall picture of championships go, Daniel Dye already got a free pass, and he's now continuing to run in the top 5. A big day for him. Just one position behind Nick Sanchez, his points nemesis coming into this one.
I might need a few Reese's Peanut Butter Cups to just think about what the nominations are going to be here today. So what we're looking at right now for the Reese's Sweet Move, just to recap everything, is a possible carburetor change for Jesse Love.
Yep.
Okay, because that could be big.
We got to whittle this down, by the way. We're not done
Yes.
that list.
I know. Ryan Unzicker's pass on Jesse Love. We also said Sammy Smith's save when Nick Sanchez got into the back of him, and Jimbo just nominated Daniel Dye's run after that incident early, coming back and now running in the top 5. So we're already, and we're not even done with this race, we have 4 nominations. We're going to have to narrow one down, and who knows what's still in store.
We have another restart coming right soon here. I think that's going to be critical. Unzicker and that crew chief on the study mark is still in turn 1. Mark McFarland, the crew chief on the number 18 is Sammy Smith. Sammy will get the lane that the leader does not choose. Only the leader gets lane choice on any restart here in the ARCA Menards series. So Unzicker on the front row with Sammy Smith. They were on the front row, and Unzicker took the lead away on lap 17 from Sammy on a restart.
I still like what I'm seeing out of Sammy Smith. I can tell you that. I'm impressed at how he's been able to be poised behind the wheel, deal with the obstacle of trying to see out the front windshield with those tear-offs coming off, but also really just showing some patience. Fell back to 5th at one point and has worked his way back up to 2nd, and he is really showing a lot. That driver out of Iowa, he's been in the super late model ranks for a long time, Winchester 400 winner, and really trying to win another here in the ARCA Menards series.
Only 6 cars are on the track, Bob, including 3rd place, number 15 of Corey Heim. A lot of cars on pit road, including Jesse Love under this caution. So, this should be interesting. See the fuel can ready. They don't have to pit under race brakes. Track position later in the race might be so critical. Pack it full of fuel now. Stay on the racetrack. Don't come down pit road during that second race break.
This is where, Kevin Reed, Billy Venturini, they're so smart. We'll remind you again, this is not the race break, but what we're saying here is that these two teams pitting now might enable them to stay out at the race break at or near lap 75. Oh, now we're told this will be the race break. So some things changing up here on the fly for sure at DuQuoin.
I was just about to pull out my rule book because I saw tires changing on the 43. I'm like, wait a minute, you can only do those under the race brakes.
So what we understand from some teams and ARCA Menards series officials is that there is rain in the area. So maybe because this has been designated the final race break, these teams coming down pit road, but teams like Sammy Smith and Unzicker in that 24, the blue car, they're staying out. And the reason why is they're expecting possible showers here, and that'll put them ahead of the rest of the competition. But they'll be on older rubber here, and those Venturini cars, oh man, the drama is going crazy right now at DuQuoin. We'll sort things out. Plenty of things happening here in the ARCA Menards Series at DuQuoin today. Welcome back to the Rust-Oleum Automotive Finishes 100 at the DuQuoin State Fairgrounds in Illinois. It's the ARCA Menards Series, and you see some ominous clouds above. Rain in the area. Lap 63 in this one has been completed, and we are told this is the final race break of this event. Several teams are electing to come down pit road to change tires, make some adjustments. Among them, the 43 of Daniel Dye, who is running in 5th. Daniel Dye, 2nd overall in the ARCA Menards Series point standings, but nobody has been better than Ryan Unzicker so far in this race. He is a dirt track specialist and former track champion at the Falls, former UMP National late model champion. He knows the dirt realm world well. But Ryan Unzicker trying to become another driver that's been able to pull off a double. He won at Springfield a few years ago, trying to win here at DuQuoin. Let's get an update on stuff that's going on here at DuQuoin with Mike Massaro.
Yeah, an important pit stop for the 15, and Corey Heim came down pit road, not only changed tires, made an air pressure adjustment, but like we saw Taylor Gray experiencing earlier in the day, it looks like Corey Heim may be having a brake issue as well with the 15. They topped off the brake reservoir with brake fluid, trying to make sure he has all the brake he needs for the remainder of this race. Bob?
Thank you so much, Mike. We'll see what happens to Corey Heim. Also another one of those drivers just trying to score his 2nd win on the dirt. And there is Ryan Unzicker, 41 years old. The guy just so good at dirt tracks, especially this part of the country.
Gives us another chance to talk about how big it is for him. 11 years now he's been racing with Bill Hendren on the dirt miles for the ARCA Menards Series. Bill is a businessman out of Springfield, Illinois area. This is his final go. Bill said, I'm selling everything at the end of this season. They want to work so hard for Bill. What a great guy he's given. He's had Bob straighten his stuff. I remember seeing Brian Raffner in his car on a mile and a half racetrack. He's been giving a lot to this series over the years of what he can do. So Ryan Unzicker and this team and a final ride for Bill Hendren be a huge win for that Illinois-based team.
Remember how special that win at Springfield was a couple of years ago. I mean, Unzicker had been close before, finally got the job done, and that team celebrated in victory lane, and I think long into the night.
Yeah, didn't have far to go either. He lives about an hour and a half north of the Springfield Fairgrounds. That's about 2 hours and 45 from here. We're both during the fair, so I love the fact that these traditional dates on the fairgrounds at the Illinois and Southern Illinois State Fairs, it's really kind of a cool setting to have these dirt mile races. And there's a bunch of people wearing shirts that are older than me saying, I was here when I saw Vogler won a Silver Crown race, or I was here when I saw Schrader win his first ARCA race back in 1998. I mean, it's really cool to have that history each and every year here on these dirt miles in Illinois.
Nick Sanchez, point leader for the ARCA Menards Series, gets that car refired. Sanchez running in 6th. Will be going to green next time by, we are told.
The great thing is Racing Electronics has a radio that the teams have. Race Control has a radio you can talk to every team through their spotters. If they align them on the backstretch here, we could be going green in half a mile.
Take a look at that cloud, too. Whew. Some dark skies off the backstretch, off turn number 2. A little bit lighter on the front stretch. People still having fun at the fair. That's behind the front stretch grandstands here at the DuQuoin State Fairgrounds. But even so, you can see some of those clouds kind of creeping over to the front stretch as well.
Look at this run here. We see the groove really becoming a single file run where you don't see the loose stuff. That's where they've been pounding the racetrack. They've been racing hard. It's not widened out enough, Bob. So this restart is critical. How Unzicker can manage his car, I'm guessing he'll choose the inside, but Sammy Smith's going to have a great restart here on a narrowing racetrack.
Just saw some raindrops on that camera lens when they showed the front stretch last time by. Just some scattered drops right now, but I'm sure everyone keeping an eye on this, including the team for your leader, Ryan Unzicker. Sammy Smith going to be on the outside of Unzicker. Coming back to the green. Lights are off on the pace car right now. Nick Sanchez, Corey Heim in that second row. Third row, Daniel Dye, and there is Jesse Love back on the lead lap.
It's going to be exciting. We saw those cars staying out on the racetrack, thinking, I need to stay on the racetrack. The other teams that pitted, fresh General Tire Grabber dirt tires. More importantly, they had a chance to talk to their teams, get the grills cleaned up. In the case of Corey Heim, get some more brake fluid and get that pedal back to full. It's going to be fun to watch how those cars can make this restart work to their advantage.
You mentioned this racetrack, very narrow. So that's something to keep an eye on. You talk about the top 3 guys coming to the green here. They have the older rubber, but new General Tire rubber on the 15, as well as the 43. Jesse Love as well. How will that play into this restart here, Jim?
Hey, Jesse, you're 17. You want to win 50 grand? Get after it in that 20. We got you everything you need now, man. Let's go after it. He starts outside row 3.
But the veteran racer Ryan Unzicker might have something to say about that. Savvy beyond his years, one of the best dirt late model competitors in the nation. Coming back to the green here, 65 laps complete. Plenty more racing action to go at DuQuoin, pending what Mother Nature does. Unzicker, a little bit sideways in the corner, trying to fend off young Sammy Smith, but Sammy Smith going for broke. The race is on for the lead. Unzicker regains it.
Sammy was even with him until he got to turn 2, just one half a tire width out of the racing line, cost Sammy the lead. Just a bit too high off exit.
Whoa, Corey Heim, all sorts of out of shape in between 3 and 4. Jesse Love up to 4th. Daniel Dye now back to 6th. Nick Sanchez in 5th.
Jesse Love's on a run. That JBL Toyota number 20. We saw how he could stalk his teammate being a lap in arrears. Now he's right inside of him here. We're on board the 20 of Love.
A lot on the line for Jesse Love, trying to win the Performance Seed Dirt Double Bonus. He won at Springfield a couple of weeks ago. If he wins here, oh no, off the front bumper of Jesse Love goes Corey Heim. Corey Heim around in the corner.
No yellow, no yellow.
No yellow, but Corey Heim spun off the front bumper of Jesse Love.
That was the battle for 3rd position on the racetrack. Caution's out.
Yellow flag comes out. Heim stopped on the racetrack. Let's take a look at what shook down in the battle amongst teammates. Corey Heim in the 15 and Jesse Love in the 20.
Heim had the run. He went to the bottom to protect, and Jesse was already there. Man, close racing.
ARCA Menards Series officials give us this. Corey Heim stopped on the racetrack, brought out the caution. That will be a 5-lap penalty for Corey Heim in that 15 team.
Corey is here for wins. It's going to be his 6th of 7 starts this year. The 15 teams in the points. He had this on his schedule since day 1. He said, I want to run the dirt mile, at least one of them. They got him a chance here and a really good piece. What a rough break for him. Maybe his last ever ARCA start here in Kansas Speedway on MAV TV in a couple weeks. He's got a really good thing going with Toyota. Disappointing run there with his Toyota teammate and Jesse Love.
Looking forward to getting to the 1.5-mile oval next week, Kansas Speedway. That will be live on MAV TV. Krista Kelly will be back in the booth with Jim Trado. Mike Massaro will be there as well. We miss Krista here today. She is back home working her full-time job.
One of the raciest mile-and-a-half tracks. I just love going to Kansas Speedway. For ARCA and any division that runs there, it's a playoff race in the Cup Series next weekend. We'll be racing on Saturday. It's going to be awesome here on MAV TV. Kansas City, here we come.
You see one of those tear-offs coming off the 2 machine of Nick Sanchez as well.
I'm looking at the bumper on the 2. He's got that panel like everybody else. So as these cars rumble under caution here, see Sammy Smith's rear bumper's been torn away. We see Jesse Love finally has some dirt on the nose of that car after giving up the lead. And look at the car behind the 2. He's got a little bit of an issue there. They've got some bolts that are gapped to keep air between the bumper and that actual panel. And that panel's not doing its job right now. It's hanging on by threads. The top 2 bolts are gone on that screen.
This track and the competition has been rough for some today.
Sanchez fourth, Daniel Dye fifth. Came into this race 11 points difference. Sanchez to be +1 if it ends now. Daniel Dye wants to get past him. We know how good Rev Racing is going to be on the mountain half of Kansas next week. We've got Salem on the schedule yet. We're going to race at Toledo Speedway this year to decide the championship on MAV TV October 8th. Looking forward to seeing how this plays out. Dirt is making a difference here today. Can the 43 of Daniel Dye do something here on this restart to get a couple of spots, a couple of valuable points?
Could this restart be a nomination for the Reese's Sweet Move of the race? How critical will this one be?
As critical as the last one. Sammy Smith held even with Unziger through turn 2. Just a little bit off the groove. He learned something there, so he's getting one more crack at this. Ultra critical for Sammy Smith.
Did you see the wiper blades going on that pace car as well? Rain is in the area. We've had reports that some precipitation is coming down here at DuQuoin, so we'll keep an eye on that. You talk about another thing to add on for these drivers. I would say with 30 laps to go, it is go time at DuQuoin.
No more race breaks. That race break came early for these teams. They have what they have on the racetrack to go the distance here.
Ryan Unzicker, very smart with his last couple of restarts. A very slow pace. Got on the front stretch about a quarter of the way down before firing, before that green flag wave from Denise Engel. He does it again. And now Sammy Smith fires as well. Unzicker, a little trading paint. But here comes Jesse Love as well, trying to work his way to the inside.
I want to say Love wanted to get to the rear bumper and tap Unziger up the racetrack. It just didn't happen. Unziger fighting through the gap and the ruts in turn 2.
Remember, Jesse Love already putting the bumper to his teammate Corey Heim. Fresh tires on the 20 machine. It pays off. Jesse Love up to second.
That was the windscreen. That was the tear off on Sammy Smith's car. The air turbulence got that cleared away for that TMC Toyota's front windshield. Running third now. Can Sammy find another way to get past Jesse Love here late?
Jesse Love now got to settle in to try to close the door on Ryan Unzicker. But for Unzicker, it is go time. Going to try to gap the second place running Jesse Love. Sammy Smith back in third. How about Daniel Dye has picked up a position. Dye up 1 on Nick Sanchez.
That's a big deal. That's another point in the championship. He's closed into 10 now unofficially on the point leader. That's the 43 of Dye. Got around Sanchez. Sanchez's car, and I'm sure Daniel's fighting his way through it. I think Sanchez is saying, how many more laps on this place? We got to get this thing done and look to Kansas. That car's battered. And he's certainly trying to hang on here.
Yellow flag waves. Debris on the front stretch is what we are being told. So that will close up the field once again and should put Jesse Love to the outside of Unzicker for this restart. Corey Heim, by the way, has pulled off the racetrack. So Corey Heim with some trouble. There's Jesse Love with the performance seed onboard camera. And guess what? Are we seeing some raindrops here, Jim?
Yeah, looks like that's not dust. That's actual water. Raindrops on the windshield at 20.
We just mentioned Corey Heim off the racetrack. What's going on, Mike?
Well, Bobby, serving his 5-lap penalty. He had to come down pit road to do that. That's where he's sitting. I will tell you, just monitoring the radio between his crew chief, Kevin Reed, and himself, Corey was not very happy with the penalty, wasn't in agreement with the officials, but has adhered to the call, and that's why he's on pit road right now.
This is just one of many races that Corey Heim is going to run in his career, and he's got a lot of wins ahead of him in the big leagues of NASCAR. So understand, because he spun off the front bumper of a teammate, stopped on the racetrack. ARCA deemed that he brought out the caution, and it says in the rule book that that is a 5-lap penalty.
Yep, Greg Van Alst, I think, is going to be given the free pass. He's coming to pit road in that number 35 CB Fabricating Ford. Yeah, it's a big chunk of a right side. Looks like some kind of nose, perhaps. Peeled away from underneath a race car on the racetrack.
And some more debris going down into the corner. There is Greg Van Alst, the chain swinging on the front end of that machine, former champion of the ARCA CRA Super Series.
In the right front, you see it on here on the 12 car as well. They're knocked in. These cars have been battered and beaten by this racetrack. It's another issue to overcome, and Greg Van Alst, why not? Come to pit road, get it right, you won't lose a spot.
I wanted to mention the 12 car of Tim Monroe, UNOH grad, and just, one of those true independent guys, runs some, dirt races around the Midwest, and right now he's running in 6. Tim Monroe for this team, just an incredible run for him, looking for his best run ever in the ARCA Menards Series.
Finished 6th and 8th last year on the dirt miles, and Tim works his brains out at Andy Hillenberg's shop in Charlotte. He's one of the main mechanics. He preps this car and every other car, sometimes 5 in a different day, for the Andy Hillenberg Fast Track Racing team. Tim's a big hands-on mechanic and gets a chance to be crew chief when he's not driving. Sometimes he's driving and crew chief, and today he gets to drive the full distance in this number 12 car. So, man, if he finishes 6th, congratulations to Tim Monroe, racing modifieds, going through the UNOH system, getting a chance to race full-time and work full-time in the ARCA Menards Series.
Unzicker, Love, Smith, Dye, Sanchez, your top 5. Greg Van Alst in that blue number 35, back on the lead lap by virtue of the free pass. 25 laps to go in this one.
Sammy Smith's in a good spot. He's inside row 2 for a change. He's not going to get gamed by the 24 of Unsinger. I want to say Jesse Love is going to be pressuring Unsinger. He's going to try to hold him down a little bit. Unsinger's going to try to gain him gap off the bottom guardrail. This is ultra critical for these teams.
Look at the water on the windshield for Jesse Love. That's down the backstretch. So we look at the skies as well to see what's going to happen here. Lights are off on the pace car. We are coming to the green on this one. I think this is going to be a wild one in turn number 1, Jim. Coming down the front stretch. This will be a restart for the ages. 41-year-old Ryan Unzicker leads, 17-year-old Jesse Love, and they fire to go down into turn number 1.
Unzicker getting a little bit wide. Jesse trying to stay off him. He gets wider yet. Man, Unzicker's so good. So much respect between those two dirt racers.
So much savviness behind the wheel of Unzicker. Trying to throw the block as the 24. Jesse Love, they trade paint going down the backstretch into turn number 3. They are side by side for the lead. Jesse Love gets into Unzicker. Unzicker just so strong. Jesse Love with trouble here at DuQuoin.
Horrible entry in turn 3. Jesse did everything he could by putting his foot on the gas and drifted up the racetrack, and Unzicker's got the lead back here at DuQuoin.
Listen, Unzicker is a smart race car driver. Jesse Love was leaning all over him, but Unzicker just so smooth behind the wheel, Mike Massaro.
You know, I had a conversation with Ryan Unzicker just before the race about this very scenario. I told him Jesse Love's going to be racing for a $50,000 bonus. Will you race him any differently? He said absolutely not. He wants to go away with a win himself. Rain is out, though.
Rain is out, and so is the yellow flag. Will this be a quick shower, or will this race end under rain? Ryan Unzicker, take a look at the rain on the front windshield of that General Tire onboard camera.
You can hear it, too. It's coming down pretty good down the front stretch. The track looks good yet. The track looks good, but there's the water dancing in the infield oval.
This, this race has been shortened twice by rain in the past, and more than 40 years of history for the ARCA Menards Series at DuQuoin. And this one, if it rains like this for another 30 seconds or so, we could be done.
Yeah, you get shiny now. It's shiny in turns 3 and 4. 1 and 2 does not look nearly as bad. So just this big mile racetrack. We had some precipitation starting in the backstretch, has now come forward. Yeah, we're getting some shiny spots now. That's not good. Sanchez survives this prize fight. He's hanging on in 5th right now. 1 spot behind Daniel Dye. I call it a small victory for him. And what a big run for Daniel Dye and Jesse Love. They overcame a lot here today with their experienced teams.
And I think experience paid off in that battle between Unzicker and Love. Love did all but wreck him, basically, going around this racetrack. Hard-fought racing, but Unzicker fought him off. Cars now coming down pit road. Could this be a sign here? ARCA Menards Series officials evaluating the situation.
One thought would be bring them down pit road, keep the drivers in, get the track prep vehicles on the track as soon as possible. Race cars off the racetrack helps that process. Bill Hendren in the blue shirt asking the official, why not just call this thing? Unzicker, that's his team owner. So much on the line for Unzicker. Man, he gets 2 cracks a year at this.
You mentioned turns 1 and 2 not looking shiny. Well, guess what? That has changed a little bit right now. Not only on the front stretch and the back stretch in 3 and 4, but even 1 and 2 now starting to get that sheen on it from this heavy rain that we are seeing right now at DuQuoin.
Covers are coming out. No official word.
Ryan Unzicker and that team doing a little rain dance right now at DuQuoin. You can see some clear skies off of turn number 4, but no clear skies off of 1 and 2. We will update you when we come back live on MAV TV, the ARCA Menards series at DuQuoin.
You can't fake greatness. Not on the track.
This MAV TV Motorsports Network broadcast has been brought to you by Richmond Water Heaters, the water heater experts. Auto Park It. The future of parking is here. See it at autoparkit.com. And by Lucas Oil. Keep that engine alive.
The skies have opened up at DuQuoin, and the checkered flag has waved. Ryan Unzicker will win his 2nd career victory in the ARCA Menards series, and now he completes a dirt double, having won at Springfield a couple of years ago, and now a winner in a rain-shortened race here at DuQuoin.
He did a lot of things right today. He was able to stay on pace. He was able to get that car in front and continually 6 consecutive restarts, getting the lead back from Sammy Smith and then Jesse Love late in the going.
There is Ryan Unzicker and his team waving to the fans on the front stretch, heading to the pagoda area, is trying to get out of the rain here so we can grab an interview. Don't slide, Ryan. Pretty slippery down there in the mud down on the bottom of the racetrack.
He will run 1.5 miles if he has to collect this trophy. What a huge win for him and the Bill Hendren team.
Mike Massaro, just so happy for the veteran Ryan Unzicker being able to fight off Jesse Love for the victory here today.
Yeah, and Ryan Unzicker finally getting to the pagoda here at DuQuoin, getting out of the rain. His family's with him. He's obviously extremely happy with the victory. You know, the rain came just as you were battling Jesse Love, a guy who was awfully hungry, looking for a $50,000 bonus. What was that battle shaping up to be between you and the 20?
It was a tough one, really. You know, I just had to really rely on my General Tires to get the grip off the restart and get down in 1. I knew I needed to try to beat him into 1, but he got a heck of a good run. And I don't know, coming off of 2, I slipped up a little bit and went high because there was a little bit of rain back there. And he was able to get up underneath of us all the way down the backstretch, and somehow I got it pulled off there. So just, boy, I just can't thank Hendren Motorsports and their whole team and everybody with MAV TV and ARCA Menards.
I wanted to talk about Hendren Motorsports. Your owner is going to retire at the end of the season. You and I spoke before the race. You gave some sentiment that you thought this might be your last ARCA race. That said, what does this win mean to you?
It's a lot. I mean, it really is. We've been doing it for a long time. I hate to say it'd be my last one, but this man right here has gave me every confidence in the world to come out here and allowed me to drive his car, and it just means the world to me to be able to end on a good note for his sake and the whole Hendren Motorsports team.
Let's grab a word with Bill Hendren right now. Bill, this victory special, you're going to hang it up at the end of the year. Yep. He comes in here and puts on a show today. What does this mean to you?
Well, that's how good he is. You know, the car was okay, but he's so good. And, you know, we'd have quit a long time ago, it wouldn't be for Ryan. He's just the kind of guy he is. So, I don't know, it's hard today.
Well, congratulations to both of you.
Thank you.
Obviously, an emotional win down here in Victory Lane, a rainy Victory Lane at DuQuoin. The winner, Ryan Unzicker, here today. Bob?
Bill's auctioning off the entire team. Buy the whole team, win the lottery, buy the whole team, and put Ryan Unzicker back behind the wheel. I think that's a great play to keep that team back in this series.
Love the emotion shown by both drivers, or both the driver as well as the car owner in Victory Lane. Let's take a look at the nominations for the Reese's Sweet Move of the race. We do now have officially 3 of them. And Daniel Dye, what a run for him. A rebound from an earlier race incident into the top 5 by the end.
Another vote for you on Twitter could be this Reese's Sweet move. Look at the run by Sammy Smith. Almost lost it. Gets the tail cleaned off and saves it. What a great run by Sammy Smith to continue on here to race in the top 5.
I think it's no contest, though. That was a great move right there, a sweet move by Sammy Smith. But how about this? Jesse Love and Ryan Unzicker going at it on the final laps of this race. That restart so critical. I believe this is the Reese's Sweet move of the race. What about you?
Unzicker had the run at the bottom. He got Jesse Love such a bad angle on entry. He knew if he was able to hold his own line, he'd take the win.
You can vote starting tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. on the ARCA Twitter page. Let's go back to Mike.
Well, not a victory, but a second-place finish for Jesse Love. That warrants a $5,000 bonus in the Dirt Double. But let's go back to that restart. What separated you from the 24 there in that final restart?
Yeah, first off, full glory to God, and proud of my number 20 JBL.com Toyota Camry team for sticking with it. Obviously, we had a battle back from, I think the butterflies weren't, or the secondaries weren't opening when I lost the lead, and then we stuck it out. And then the rest of the race, when we came down pit road to fix it, went, I think, a lap or two down. So we had a battle back from that. Finally, the last stage, we were on the lead lap, and I could start to make up some ground again. But yeah, like you said, that last restart, I wanted to win really bad. Thought I entered turn 1 and it was wet, and I went straight to the fence, and I was like, oh my gosh. So I just slammed in the gas, get it pointed, and he slid up, and I tried to cross him over, and then we drag raced down to turn 3, and I let him run me in there too narrow. I should have, done more to win the race. I let my guys down, and don't take that lightly. So, today was on me. Obviously, I had a really fast race car. Could not be more proud of my team. If I could do it again, I sure as hell would have done some things different. So learn from it, live from it, and move on from it.
Well, Jesse Love, awfully strong at the dirt tracks this year. Congratulations.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
First in Springfield, second place here at DuQuoin. Great run for Jesse Love. Bob?
Thank you so much, Mike. Let's take a look at the finishing results for the ARCA Menards Series in the Rust-Oleum Automotive 100. Unzicker, Love, top 2. Sammy Smith, this is good for his battle for the championship in the Sioux Chief Showdown. He finishes in 3rd. Taylor Gray way back in this one. But I think what's pivotal here is Daniel Dye gained a little bit on Nick Sanchez, 1st and 2nd in the points.
A big win in survival for both those championship contenders. Dye now 10 points behind Nick Sanchez. 1 spot difference again for the 3rd straight week amongst the title contenders.
And how about Tim Monroe? Doesn't get his best ARCA finish, but a 7th place run here today. And Joe Cooksey, old Cooksey with a top 10.
Yeah, just had to persevere, had some overheating issues. I saw the hood up earlier. Good to see Joe back in this series from Centralia, Illinois.
The next race for the ARCA Menards Series comes in Kansas. 150-mile race, and we will have it live on MAV TV September 10th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time.
This coming Saturday night, I cannot wait.
Victory Lane, a little bit wet here today at DuQuoin. We saw some interesting racing, and this track had some characteristic today.
It did. I mean, it had some ruts, it had some grooves, it had some moist spots, it had some dry spots. The teams had their hands full. Credit to the teams that survived to finish top 5 in this one. And
credit to the teams now that have to get these cars and the equipment in the haulers at a dirt track today. They are the true unsung heroes of the ARCA Menards Series. We saw a good one here today. We're really excited about how exciting the finish was. The state fair here at DuQuoin, always enjoyable. Green flag was out. Jesse Love led early, trouble for some. But for everybody here at the racetrack, the ARCA Menards Series, Bob Sargent, kudos to everyone for getting this one in. So for Mike Massaro, my buddy Jim right here, as well as everybody at MAV TV and the ARCA Menards Series, I'm Bob Dillner saying thanks so much for watching, and a big congratulations to Ryan Unzicker on the win at DuQuoin.